Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we go racing to start off the Pocono doubleheader here in the Cup Series with race number 1. But we start things off with some breaking news to start today's episode now, as Matt Dibenedetto will go to the 10 car next season for Stewart-Haas Racing. As you see, Almirola out of the 10, and Dibenedetto says, "I'm super excited for this chance and hope to win many races with SHR." And Almirola is said to be in talks with Richard Petty Motorsports, a team he used to drive for quite a few years ago. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes now. But Dibenedetto from the 21 to the 10, as Hendrick, of course, was announced earlier to be replacing Dibenedetto next season in the 21 car. But Dibenedetto continues to make the leaps into better teams, and finally he finds himself on a 5-star team for the next season of the career mode. Now, as we come through, though, into the first race of the Pocono doubleheader in qualifying. Last season we had a decent Pocono doubleheader, so we're trying to bring that speed once again over to the season where we've had so far an incredible season. Just last episode we picked up win number 4 on this season, and Chicago definitely wasn't in a position to win. We've kind of stolen 2 victories this season. There's a team again to the outside wall on the exit of turn 1 that completely destroyed our qualifying lap, and you're going to see how it affects us here as we come through out of turn 3 now on the qualifying attempt. The goal was a 54.241, and we're going to come through to cross the line with a 54.716. So we end up going P20 here for the first race of the Pocono doubleheader. Definitely not what we were looking for, but now we got a lot of ground to make up now as we're going to check out the rest of the qualifying order there. As you see at the very bottom, we got the 51 car of Joey Gase, and then you see rookie Noah Gragson there in P30. Now as we got Alex Bowman P21, myself 20th, Larson in 18th, and then on pole though we got the 1 car of Kurt Busch in what will be his final season of the Cup Series here as we're ready to get going for the Pocono Organics 325. So just coming off, like I said earlier, win number 4 on the season at Chicagoland Speedway, and I was mentioning how we've kind of stolen 2 wins this season at Atlanta as well as now Chicagoland. So honestly, we should have probably only had 2 wins this season so far, but we've just kind of made the right calls and got ourselves in position to win some races now. As you see, Kurt Busch really fast today now. Quinn Half says it pays off to be nice. There, as you see, Daniel Suarez on the 99 Trackhouse car starting at the back of the field after failing optical scanning station multiple times now, as we're going to get ready to go green here just behind that 43 of Kyle Larson in the first race of the Pocono doubleheader, which is now underway as the green flag is out and Kurt Busch leads the way to the green flag. Thank goodness. I love that the Pocono races are back to back because this is my least favorite track in real life as well as in the NASCAR Heat video game, so I'm very happy that we can just get them out of the way back to back and then move on with the rest of the season. And really after this race, it's really going to get into the playoff crunch time, as we actually made it 4 wide in turn 1 there as we came through out of the corner, passing Larson as well as the 48 of Bowman, passing the 95 of our affiliate teammate of Christopher Bell, now side by side with the 12 of Ryan Blaney down this first back straightaway. But like I said, after these Pocono doubleheader races, the playoff crunch really comes into effect now, as it will only be, I think, 7 races left in the regular season after the second Pocono doubleheader race in the next episode here, as we're right on the back of Ryan Newman as we go down into turn 3 up the inside of our teammate of Denny Hamlin. Honestly, I was confident we had top 10 speed, so I was doing my best, of course, here with only 5 laps in stage 1. Stage 1 very short compared to the second stage, which is actually about double the length or so of this first and opening stage now, as we're going to make it 3 wide with Ryan Newman as well as Ross Chastain. Chastain has had shown speed this season, and he's had so much bad luck that he finds himself in a must-win scenario to make the playoffs. Ryan Newman, he's not really in a must-win, I don't think yet, but he definitely realistically has to look at winning a race, and he's done that before in the career mode. Last season, he won the regular season finale at Daytona, so definitely don't count Ryan Newman out here as we go down this first back straightaway, trying to run down William Byron there. And the 24 car, we already know that he will not be returning to that car next season in the career mode as well. Eric Jones in the 88 car will not be returning next season, so there's 2 open spots at Hendrick Motorsports, as you guys know, and those announcements about who will be replacing those 2 drivers will be coming very soon now, as we already know where Eric Jones is going, but we don't quite know where Byron is going here, as we would come through though on the lap 3 of 5 in stage 1, now getting aggressive, making it 3 wide up the inside of Kyle Busch as well as Austin Dillon there as we slide into the corner. Thankfully no contact involved now, as Keselowski is just in front of Cole Custer. Logano up in the mix. We've had a bit of run-ins with Joey Logano lately here in the career mode now, as things kind of seem to be ramping up between himself and I here as we go down this first backstretch right to the back of Custer. We followed him though all the way around to the next lap with 2 laps to go in stage 1. Then I make it 3 wide with Custer and Logano as we go down into turn 1. Keselowski was really kind of holding up a whole lot of cars as Kurt Busch continued to lead this race here as we slide a little bit there on the exit of turn 1, still side by side with Cole Custer now as I'm trying to get right on his left rear quarter panel to side draft him, but it wasn't enough, so he faded in behind him, and then he got back up the inside of Joey Logano now coming through to the white flag in stage 1. I guess sideways there through 3, get into the side of the 3 car. Thankfully we save it, but I hit the outside wall, still chasing the car up the track, so we now lose another spot to the 18 of Kyle Busch. But as I cross the line, the caution comes out. Stage 1 comes to a very early end here now as we will get P10, so 1 stage point for us now, as up front it is Kurt Busch who wins stage 1 and picks up another playoff point. So not really the worst first stage in the world for us considering where we started in P20, but definitely felt like we have a car that's still better than 10th, but you can see it was getting pretty free there at the end of that first stage. We got to work on tightening up the car, guys. On the long run, it really gets loose, and I don't think we're going to have anything for these guys if this thing goes green for quite a while. There you heard the radio transmission from myself to the team now as we actually gained 2 positions, fortunately, on the pit lane. So we'll go from P10 to now P8 for the start of the second stage, just behind Joey Logano, who is side by side with the 41 of Cole Custer. Stage 2 underway as Kurt Busch leads the way back to the green flag. Him and Martin Truex Jr. currently run P1 as well as P2 here as we get underway. You see right down the top left, like I said, about double the length now, actually 6 extra laps compared to stage 1 that we have in the second stage. So a lot of time here as we come through the center of turns 1 side by side with our teammate of Kyle Busch now as we're going to battle side by side down this first back straightaway. Behind us we got the 2 Hendrick teammates of Byron and Elliott. Chase Elliott, his position at Hendrick Motorsports, very safe. You'll likely see Chase Elliott stay in the 9 car throughout the whole career mode here in NASCAR Heat 5 now as we come through the tunnel turn a little bit wide, but we make it work. We actually carry the momentum down back straightaway number 2. We're side by side now with the 3 of the RCR driver of Austin Dillon, who's really picked it up lately here in the career mode. I did adjust his driver rating a while back now as we come through out of turn 3, still side by side with him, and he continues to close in towards a playoff position, but it's still going to be a tough road ahead for Austin Dillon as we clear him down the front straightaway now side by side with Cole Custer. We're going to get into the back of the 22 of Logano, give him a push there down the front stretch now as we're going to try and get up the inside, maybe into turn 1. He goes a little bit wide there, and I'm now going to sneak up the inside, but he might be able to stay clear on the exit of turn 1 now as we drift up the track. Almost contact. There is contact with the 22 of the Penske driver of Joey Logano. He got sideways, saves it. We're going to be still side by side. I side draft him very hard now, very aggressive as we go down this back straightaway towards the tunnel turn. Kurt Busch still out front at this point here as we come through the tunnel turn. We get through there so much better than the 22 of Logano as well as the 2 as Brad Keselowski. And now Kyle Busch, he's moved up into P7 behind us as we continue to battle for P5 with Joey Logano as we go down into turn 3. Kurt Busch, he's now given up the lead to Kevin Harvick as we nearly clear the 22 of Logano side by side. More contact at the turns 3 between myself and Logano. He saves it again, but now he continues to fight back on the right side with 9 laps to go here in the first stage. He actually has help from the 2 of Keselowski with that draft, and now I get the draft for a brief moment to keep me even with Logano as we go down into turn 1. We slide up the track still side by side with Joey, but now Kyle Busch, he gets up the inside, makes it 3 wide, and he is going to drive by both of us here on the exit of turn 1 as myself and Logano just caught up racing each other so hard as this rivalry really starts to pick up between myself and Logano. And if we keep going at it with each other like this here in the coming races, I really think you will see a rivalry between myself and Logano now as we got sideways through the tunnel turn, allowing Logano to get clear now and then bring the 3 of Austin Dillon back to my outside as we go down into turn 3 side by side with the Richard Childress driver as we continue to kind of struggle here as the stage goes on. But speaking of struggling, Keselowski would lose quite a few positions, drift now down to P6 after he got passed by Kyle Busch as well as his teammate of Joey Logano here as we come through on the exit of the tunnel turn sideways again. The car was really starting to feel free at this point now as we get right to the back, look to the left hand side of Keselowski into turn 3 and try to retake P6 from him. Logano there in P5 as we slide up in front of the 2, clearing Keselowski, but that opens the door now for the 43 of Larson as I'm very sideways, make a huge save after actually hitting the 2. Then we get hit by the 11 of Hamlin. You can see just how bad the car was driving at that point now as we just get out of the way, but then the caution comes out now here in Pocono late in the second stage. Could not find what brought out the caution, but you could see the struggles I was dealing with right there before that caution came out. The car was just trying to spin out all over the place. I decided that we are going to stay out here at the caution break. It looks like John Hunter Nemechek actually brought out the caution, and Noah Gragson is out of this race currently there in P40 now, as we'll get ready to go green from P9 in what I think will be a 2-lap dash potentially here to the end of the second stage now, as Martin Truex Jr. finds himself leading this way, but no, it's actually a 3-lap dash as we are back underway in Pocono from the 9th position. Brad Keselowski side by side in front of us with the 9 of Chase Elliott. Behind us we got Chase Briscoe and Austin Dillon, and on my outside we got the 11 of our teammate of Denny Hamlin, who's been our closest competitor this season here as we go down into turn 1, but the car immediately snaps loose, and we are now going to go for a big slide, and out of turn 1 we're going to go spinning into the inside wall. Please keep it out. No, we hit the inside wall. Not any major damage, but the caution comes out and ends stage 2 a few laps early, and now we go all the way down to P39 here instead of a chance at a top 10. I have no idea what to say, guys. The car just got around and I just couldn't save it and hit the inside wall. We got some damage that we need to fix, but yeah, I don't know what happened. There, you heard what I said. I didn't know what happened. The car I went into turn 1. I knew we were going to be loose, but it just snapped, and I almost had it saved, and it snapped again when I was side by side with Denny Hamlin, and I couldn't hang on anymore once I got towards that apron, and unfortunately, I slammed on the brakes, hoping I wasn't going to smash into the inside wall, but we did. Fortunately, that was not a DNF there, as Bubba Wallace gives up 11 positions on the pit lane. Almirola gave up 8, but now this is going to bring us into the start of the third and final stage now, as John Hunter Nemechek leads the way as he brought out that caution earlier, and it did not DNF him, so he actually stays out. Kevin Harvick, I believe, was the stage 2 winner, so another playoff point to him as he picked up a win earlier this season. If I remember correctly, it was at Texas Motor Speedway now as we go into turn 1. There you see Harvick stuck behind John Hunter. Actually, no, Harvick's in 4th now, as it's Kurt Busch stuck behind John Hunter Nemechek, so Truex should cycle out through to the lead here, and Harvick might go through in a second as we go down this first bag straight away to the inside of the 51 car of Joey Gase. A lot of ground to make up now, as you saw there between the stage break under the pit lane. I made a lot of adjustments on the car, considering I moved the wedge up, I put the right side tire pressures down more, hoping that it would tighten up the car quite a bit more here on the long run, because the car felt so good on the short run, but when it came to the long run, the car was just not good at all, and it was very frustrating, but I'm confident here that hopefully those adjustments will definitely turn things around for us in what is now going to be 13 laps to go here in the first Pocono race of 2 here now, as we come through to cross the line up the inside there of the 10 of Eric Almirola. We're only up into P33 after 1 lap now, as we got to really get going here if we want to make up ground and potentially get a top 10 as we go down into turn 1 up the inside of that 36 of David Reagan. So now into the top 30 as we exit turn 1. Almirola trying to follow through, as he just got announced to be now out of the 10 car at the end of the season to Matt Dibenedetto, who will be moving from that 21 car at Wood Brothers Racing over to Stewart-Haas in that 10 car. So you can see, though, the ground we were making up would come to 12 laps ago. Now passing Suarez, the 47, as well as Ricky Stenhouse Jr. So we move into the top 25, but then the caution comes out. I think it was for something behind us, because I can't see anything going on in front, but everybody coming to the pit lane, which could be an opportunity for us. We do have to come in here, and I decided to throw right side tires on because I saw the right rear was already at 91%, and I knew the car was getting looser on worn tires, so I decided to play it safe, put right side tires on. I thought we might give up some track position with this call. Sure enough, I was right. We dropped down 10 positions back to 35th, so kind of getting a reset button again, not the one we were looking for, as we get ready to go green in Pocono. Stage 3 is back underway now, as Martin Truex Jr. leads the way as we restart P35. So obviously a lot of ground to make up with just 9 laps remaining in this race, but I'm hopeful that we can hopefully get up towards the front of the pack, or at least in the top 10 now, as we go down towards turns 1 behind that 32 of Corey LaJoie now, as you see Bubba Wallace not having the greatest run, Eric Almirola not having the greatest run either, as we come through side by side there with LaJoie. We clear him down back straight away at number 1, get up the inside of David Reagan, and immediately we're making up a good chunk of ground as we go down towards that tunnel turn side by side now with Eric Almirola into turn 2, and through the tunnel turn there, as we're going to be able to now re-enter the top 30, and we're already just slicing through as Martin Truex Jr. He is trying to hang on for what would be actually his first win of the season, to our surprise right now, as he leads over second place of Kurt Busch, who's trying to pick up win number 2 on the season for him, as Chastain now finds himself down here in the 25th spot as we go up the inside of Stenhouse, and we are just continuing to move our way forwards now, already closing in back on that top 20, but only 8 laps to go now here in Pocono. But as we came through out of turn 1, we get to the outside there of the 88 car of Eric Jones, and we will easily pass him and now take over P21. So we try to run down Tyler Reddick for P20, and sure enough, he was side by side with Christopher Bell, and I hop on the opportunity, make the pass on him into turn 3, and so we pass the 8 of Reddick as well as the 95 of Christopher Bell, and now move up into P19. So we are quickly gaining positions, but running out of time so quick as we came through to 7 laps to go up the inside of the 17 of Busher. There you see Cole Custer, he's kind of drifted down to P17. Custer right on the mix of that playoff bubble right now, so we got to really keep an eye on him, as well as be very careful around a driver like Cole Custer. I don't want to be the driver that ruins his chances of making the playoffs right now, as we're side by side with that 41 car down back straightaway number 1, closing in on the back of the 48 of Alex Bowman, another driver who's somewhat in the playoff bubble picture. He's got a decent gap right now, points wise, above that cut line. As you see, I got a little bit sideways running P18, now retaking P17 from Custer as we go down towards turn 3, as I would kind of chill behind Bowman there for a moment, get up the inside now of Dibenedetto with 6 laps to go, and we pass him for P16, and then we take all the momentum right to the inside of Alex Bowman into turn 1, and now we will take over the 15th position as we come through the center of turn 1, a little bit sideways, though that will allow Bowman to actually battle back a little bit there, as I'm trying to hang on to the car, and unfortunately I can't quite clear Alex Bowman down the first back straightaway. So we will continue side by side all the way down towards the tunnel turn here as we continue to battle it out, but sure enough, into the tunnel turn, this is where we've been strongest all race. He actually fights back pretty well on the outside, which was a bit of a surprise to me, but we finally do get clear of Alex Bowman as we go down into turn 3. So we take over P15, and then we try to run down both Harrison Burton as well as William Byron, as Kurt Busch was now actually leading this race here as we came through turn 3 on that 28. Now as we're closing in very quickly on the back of the 24 of William Byron here as we came through turn 3. So we close in right to the back of him with 4 laps to go now, all the way to the inside there of that 24, using that draft to now try to take over P14. But I'm realizing at this point, without a caution, the top 10 is very, very unlikely now as we come through sideways. You saw there through turns 1 now, as I was able to hang on to it there, but we're still going to be side by side with that 24 Byron as I get very aggressive on that side draft down this first back straightaway as Kurt Busch continues to lead the way now, as he's, like I said, looking for win number 2 and what will be his final season of his Cup Series career here as we come through the tunnel turn, continuing to try and pass that 24, but we get through the tunnel turn very well, like we have all race, and now we do clear the 24 and take over P14 and trying to now put the pressure to the back of our affiliate teammate of Harrison Burton. But I decided to actually be nice to Harrison. I actually give him a push here and try to move him closer to 12th place up ahead now, as I know he needs a lot of points to get into the playoffs, but he is not in a must-win situation. So we're going to try and help our teammate of Harrison, as I realized I didn't have the speed to get a top 10 at this point as we were approaching just 2 laps to go, as Kurt Busch came through now to 2 laps to go, leading the way, but he actually loses the lead down the front straightaway to Martin Truex Jr. here with 2 laps to go. So Truex now in position to get win number 1 of the season here as we came through lap and a half to go at this point in Pocono as we lose a little bit of ground to Harrison Burton, but there's smoke up ahead now. He slows and a bunch of cars slow. It's Kurt Busch actually who is blown an engine. He goes from being in position to potentially win as I'm hanging on there. We get the car back going as we almost had a big collision with Kurt Busch, and that left the door open for Burton to actually repass me as we go down towards turns 3. So we drift down now into the 13th position as Martin Truex Jr. starts the final lap here in Pocono, and he has a solid gap over second place, so as long as he doesn't crash, he will be the winner here in Pocono for the first time this season as we start the final lap here in the first race of the Pocono doubleheader, trying to get back to that 96. I didn't really plan to pass him, but obviously we did pass him going into the tunnel turn with that situation with Kurt Busch, but you can see right there the car is now just completely gone away at this point here as we come through out of turn 1. The car just just was driving so bad. I got very loose. Fortunately, we did hang on to it here as we go down back straightaway number 1, almost getting into the outside wall as we go down towards that tunnel turn, trying to at least hold on to 13th place as Cole Custer, he tries to close that gap to myself here as we come through the tunnel turn now as we close in on the back of the 96 of Harrison Burton, nearly into the outside wall there, but obviously not enough time to even get close to him here on the Pocono Organics. 325 here as we come through turn 3 for the final time. Martin Truex Jr. will come through to pick up the victory for the first time this season as we exit turn 3, and for the second time this season, we will come through to finish outside of the top 10. Unfortunately now, as we started the season off with like 14 consecutive top 10s, and now we've had 2 races outside of the top 10 within close range of each other. So that's a slight concern, but I'm not really too worried about that now. As you see the rest of the order, Ryan Blaney currently rounds out the top 10. Austin Dillon there in P11. Eric Jones all the way down in P23. Almirola 28th. Chastain all the way down in 29th. Bubba Wallace P30. And in last place, Noah Gragson. Kurt Busch ended up 38th. So now, though, we're going to go do our very quick post-race interview here with Jay Cook.
Rough day in the first Pocono race, Gary. That's only the second time this season you didn't get a top 10. What was wrong with the car?
I was just too loose there at the end, Jay. I mean, we had a very good car, I felt like, on the short run. But when the kind of middle part of the run came around, it just started to free up a little bit, which it was bearable. But then on that long run, it just got too loose, and I couldn't do anything at the end, unfortunately.
What are your thoughts on Dibenedetto going to the 10 car next season?
I'm really happy to hear about that for Matt. You know, he deserves to be in a top ride, and he's done a lot with a 4-star team in that 21 car. So I'm excited to see how it goes next season battling him. I know I'm going to be in a good car next season. I can't say yet, but I know where I'll be going, so I'm excited to be looking forward, I should say, to be battling with Matt next season, where hopefully he'll be going for some wins. Alright, there was a post-race interview between myself as well as Jay Cook. As always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you do know what to do. A bit short because the Pocono doubleheader makes the Pocono races shorter overall. So the next episode will be a similar length, which I will hopefully drop tomorrow. Now, as you see the playoff grid, that's very important. Kyle Larson currently 9 points below the cut line. Byron 24. Austin Dillon 29 below. Chris Buescher 38. Harrison Burton 41 below the cut line. So he has an opportunity. That 1 point there could have been big that we didn't take away from him. Now, as honestly, I didn't have the car to pass him in the first place right at the end. By the time I caught him, right when I caught him, I could have passed him, but that was really the only time. Now, as you see, we still lead the playoff grid, though, so that's good. So I'd like to thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch this one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.